Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. A few people have asked for these kinds of tutorials, so I thought, why don't I make them? These are my favorite utilities and tools. All right, now only 3 of these are available for the Mac. Most of them are Windows only, but 2 actually replicate features that are already on the Mac, which is Quicklook and Column View, which Column View was invented by Mark S. Miller and not by Next, in case you're a historian nerd like me looking back to its origins. Now, the first tool is probably my most loved tool. It's called Listary. On the Mac, I think they still make a default folder X, and the idea behind both of these tools, and there actually is many tools that do this, but I love Listary. It's just great. It helps you navigate to previous folders where you've been. And if you come from a creative environment and you're working, for instance, on Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, and Premiere Pro, and their folders are all over the place, and there's some stuff in a project folder, some in a graphics folder, trying to get to these by navigating through a giant list of clicks can be a huge problem, especially if you're accessing stuff on a server, which can be so deep. So let me show you that first. It's not an app. I mean, it's a thing you install and it comes up anywhere, really. Listary can be invoked everywhere, but I just use it mostly for file, save, and open dialog boxes. Let me show you that right now on the desktop. I've got a directory that I'd like to get to that's on this PC in my demo drive, lots, and inside these 3 folders. That's where the contents of this folder is. Now, typically I would have to navigate through all of that. I have 3 internal drives on this computer, so that's a lot of jumping around, but not with Listary. So let's go back to Premiere Pro and I'll load a look. So I'm gonna jump here to browse, and it takes me to my, the default for me is to go out to this PC, which is kind of like my Macintosh HD. But if you look down here on the bottom, it's showing me what is open. And I can click on that and I go right to that folder. Ooh, I can also, if I have more than one folder, and typically I'm working on 3 monitors, so I can see those folders. I can just actually click with my mouse in a folder, click back on the Open Save dialog box, and it's going to take me to that folder. And that's going to save literally hundreds of clicks and clicks and clicks. So there I am right there. So I'll just choose this one. Hopefully it's compatible. There it is. I want to go back to it, click Browse. It takes me right back to it that easy. Also in that same interface, down at the bottom, not just jumping into here, but I also have my favorites. And you can add any number of favorites you have here. I can jump quickly to my graphics. I can jump to my documents, my Video Revealed folder, and here's a history. Oh, I love this. These are all the things that I've been doing in the last little while. They show up in here, all the files and all the folders. This is what I mean about working with multiple applications like Photoshop and Premiere Pro and After Effects. What did I open? I was in Photoshop and I opened that folder and that image and that, but now I want that in After Effects and I want that. Everything is there. It's so great. Default folder X, same thing on the Mac. I was using default folder X in the freaking 1990s to navigate, and I can't live without it. So it's called Listary on Windows. There's a free version and a paid version. Paid version I'm using, it has a few extra things, but for the most part, it's the same. So Listary, oh yeah, and then there's another button over here, switch to the last open folder in the file manager. You can copy the path, run to PowerShell, and it's also meant as a search tool. I don't do it. I don't use Listary for searching, but it does actually build indexes, and you can search on these indexes. So that's Listary. Love it. Okay. Next up is a good media player. And for a while I was stuck with VLC player. It's, you know, a standard on Windows because whatever Microsoft was making wasn't cutting it. The newest media players from Microsoft are okay, but I like KM Player. KM Player has a very simple interface, and that's really what I like. I like stuff to get out of the way. And not only that, it looks good. VLC looks like crap. You can right-click anywhere or click up in here to get to a lot of the commands like open directories, open URLs, play recent files. So let me go to... This was an old demo tutorial that I was looking at from years ago. And you can also see what video tracks are there, what subtitles you can navigate. And I've set mine up. I like to step through one frame at a time. And there are no media players out there, with the exception of probably QuickTime Player, maybe an old one, to step forward and backward one frame at a time. And the reason most media applications don't have that installed is because we're dealing really with compressed video, so all frames don't necessarily exist, especially H.264. There's a lot of partial frames, so it has to build those frames. So for performance, a lot of these companies don't put advance of frame forward and back. It's the back one that and you can do that in here, and you can probably do it in a lot of other ones, but just all in all, I love KM Player. And again, all of these links will be in the description. Now, there's also another application. This is a free download. It's called Icaros, and it draws thumbnails to a lot of formats that the operating system doesn't normally draw thumbnails for. And it supports a ton of different formats. MKV primarily, when it shows up on Windows and probably on the Mac, there's no thumbnail for them, and it drives me crazy. But now I can go to a directory like I have way over on my server. And if I look at this, large icons, those are all KMV files, MKV files, and they have previews. So you just load this into the operating system, and it starts redrawing all of these thumbnails that you would normally not have. Now, you'll notice I opened up, other than Windows Explorer, I opened up a different file browser called Files. And this is also something that I love because I get column view. And the reason I like column view is this. Watch this. I've got hundreds of folders here, and I could jump to the contents of any of these folders that quickly without having to click and twirl down little twirlies and things like that. I just love opening things up like this, and I can keep going deep as I want. You can also scroll here, scroll down there. There's a bunch of different views. You can go to detail, column, tiles, small icons, medium, large icons. You can show hidden items. You can pin things. It has a home screen where you can add widgets in here. I don't like to turn those on. I'm not a fan of them. It's also, it has... in its preferences, it also has tags. It connects with GitHub too, and it also has different appearances, different materials, lots of customization, and it's always being updated. I just love the freedom of working in this kind of a view. It's just very, very fast to jump around inside here. You can have multiple panels. You can copy and paste between here. All of the commands are at the top for whatever you have. Now, the other one is a free utility called Quicklook. And if you're a Mac user, hopefully you're using this. Basically, it gives you a quick preview of whatever file. Great for video files, great for PDFs, documents and things like that, where you don't want to have to launch an application just to see it. And Windows does not have that. That's not typically a thing that you have. So let me jump to a file. So there, I'm hitting the space bar when I'm clicking on a file, and I'm hitting the down arrow to go to the next file, the next file, the next file, the next file. And what's amazing about this Quicklook, there's a few of them for Windows, but what I love about this particular install is it plays back ProRes. I don't even know, probably uses the open source FFmpeg, I'm guessing, but it allows me to look at a high resolution 4K ProRes on the desktop just by hitting the space bar. So yes, I wish Windows had that, but even if they did it, they probably wouldn't be playing ProRes. So Quicklook, gotta love that. Now next up is searching, and that is a sore spot for anybody on Windows. If you're honest, searching on Windows is awful. It always has been, that's why I don't use it. I use another search tool called Everything. And I'm hitting Alt-F, and that brings up my search. And it's wicked fast, so watch this. As I type, I can see a bunch of choices. I can navigate by a bunch of different columns. I can also search based on the whole word, match case, match path, and then a bunch of other search capabilities that are way beyond me. I love being able to come over here and just look for particular categories. So these are videos that are Colin or folders that are Colin. And remember Quicklook?
Hello, this is Colin Smith.
So I'm just hitting Quicklook right within Everything. Everything indexes like crazy. And because the indexes are so robust, it launches instantly and the search is fantastic. And you can right click on any one of these and you can open a path. So if I needed to, I could jump right to that path and open that up. Oh yeah, one thing that I wanted to mention about files is when I just said open path, it opened the native file browser, which is Windows Explorer. You can tell files to become the default Windows file browser. So it's the only one that opens, but I don't do that. Okay, next up is WizTree. Wow, sometimes the names are not good. The Mac equivalent is Grand Perspective, and I use this all the time to find stray files sitting on the hard drive taking lots of space. So they all work exactly the same. So I'll just launch WizTree. As my wife says, it sounds like something a dog does on a tree. WizTree. So we're going to scan the C drive. Watch how fast this is. Boom, that fast. Now, stay away from the stuff on the right. That is part of your operating system. If you go poking around in there and deleting files, you're going to have a problem. But you can mouse over here and see what things are. So these are a bunch of image files, camera raw files. Over here, we've got some videos. And you can right click on them and explore the folder. You can also see it will drill down over here and you can scroll up to where things are. So this is my videos folder and it's 41 gigabytes in size. That's not bad, pretty typical. There's other things down here, a bunch of other document folders and stuff like that. This is the one that I found this the other day and I thought I'm going to leave this for this example because look at the size of this. This is 100 gigabyte disk cache from After Effects. It made this gigantic cache to make everything move faster. But when I'm not doing these projects anymore, why do I have this giant cache? So I can right click on this and I can delete that whole thing. And all of that is going to be, it's telling me it's very big, it's going to be deleted, and I'll click OK, and I'll gain back 100 gigabytes of space. Now, I could have gone into After Effects and cleaned the disk cache that way, but visually it's nice to see that. Now, if I rescan this, it's gone. And I get much more granularity for some of the other things because that was taking up so much room. Like all of these. Oh, here's a bunch of my music libraries of music files. But that's it. It's really great. WizTree, grand perspective on the Mac. Just fire it up and holy smokes, there's a lot of times, especially today with things like disk caches from not only Adobe applications, but other applications, they might have left something sitting there for a while. Okay, that's WizTree. UpNote. Wow, wow. I started with Evernote years ago, and it was good till it got bad, and then I gave up on it. And then I went on a horrible search. I tried, Google had something, whatever. And then OneNote for Windows actually lost entries. And the issue for me is I'm going to enter stuff on my phone. I'm going to enter stuff on my computer. In fact, my desktop computer, my laptop computer, and my phone, anytime I have an idea for a show, oh yeah, boom, 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 I'll put it down wherever I am. I want that to be accurate. And what I found was that OneNote was not accurate. So it didn't sync when I started my phone. I would look at a number. Oh, number 722. I'm going to make 723. Well, there was a 723 before, but it's not synced. Yikes. So I've done all the work for you. Forget everything else. Go get UpNote. There's a free and a paid version. I'm running the paid version because I love it. It's very fast. It supports pasting in of graphics, which is essential for me. When I'm thinking of tutorials, I will copy and paste something to tell me what I want to show. It's just fantastic, and you can have as many of these in here as you want for whatever notes. I love it for my show and for any other kind of detailed information. UpNote, wow. And UpNote is for the Mac too, so you can grab that for the Mac. Next up is, now there's lots of backups, and I have file history running, which is kind of like, now I'm forgetting, whatever the backup, that spacey thing on the Mac. My wife's running that on her MacBook Air to our server. I'm running file history for my C drive to our server. So my main document stuff is always backed up. But for my video revealed working file, which sometimes, man, if I lost that, that would be sometimes weeks of work. And what I do is I'm getting a warning here because I'm not set up on my desktop, but I plug in a 2 terabyte drive and I run a one-way task out to this drive. Basically, I want the drive to always, whatever I have put in my video revealed folder, copy it there. If I delete it from there, don't delete it from there. So it's a one-way. And you can create different kind of syncing in here. Right now it's warning me that I'm not connected. But this is the difference. I don't use this one. This is a one-way task, and it says pay attention. If you delete something from one, it'll delete it from the other. I like this, create a copy task. No matter what I have on my computer, it's going to be mirrored over there. If I throw something away from 2 years ago, it's only thrown away from my computer. The backup is always there. And you can create as many of these as you want. It doesn't bug you. It will only warn you if you can't sync. But I just have this running as soon as I boot my computer. That way, if I lose anything, I've got it on that extra drive. Gotta love that. Okay, that's SyncFolder. HWiNFO is another one that I love. And this gives you a very, very granular view of every single thing in your computer, all of the specifications, all of the processors, every single port that you can think of and what it's doing or not doing, what the network is doing, what your drives are. And you can click on any of these and get even more information. Very critical things. And we can go to the video adapters. There's my gorgeous NVIDIA RTX A5500. And you can see how everything is running in there. And then there's memory setting or memory specs and the sensors that were up there before. So I just love this. It's always updated. It's a quick way to look deep inside your hardware and see how it's performing and what it is. And the next one is MediaInfo. And I love MediaInfo. So let's go into footage, ARTLIST. So if I want information on one of these clips, I can right click and I can show more options and get MediaInfo. A little tip on Windows, if you hold the Shift key when you right click, it will take you right to MediaInfo as some of the other ones will show up. And if you go to View, Tree View, this is really good because it shows you all of the information about the audio and video inside that file. Absolutely critical. You won't always get this kind of information if you open in whatever nonlinear editor. This strips it down to the codec, the bit rate, the duration, the maximum bit rate, the frame size, scan type. Lots of this information I don't even know, but it's nice to have this. If you're having an issue with something, you can look at it with MediaInfo. Next up, another one of my favorites. You might have noticed it over here on the left-hand side. It's called Rainmeter, and it's basically desktop widgets. This particular look that I'm looking at right now is called Win10 widgets, but with a twist. This was such a hit when it came out because it's so beautiful. Two other guys worked on the world clock up in the top and the weather over here. So you can add any of these different locations. And because I'm always working with people around the world, it's nice to know what time it is, for instance, in China. And this is the local weather for me, and I like to be able to see that. This is the network speed. I love this. You're waiting for a download and you're wondering, what's my speed? And you want to call up another tool. I can just glance over and look at this and see what my network speed is, what my CPU speed is, the drive that I'm using, and I could pick any of the drives that I wanted. And I love this. I'm using my scroll wheel just for volume, which is so much nicer than having to find the button and turn that up. This is only one look of what Rainmeter looks like. If we go into the settings here and go to Help and go to Discover, you can see there's a lot of places where it's offered. So if we go to DeviantArt, you'll see a bunch of Rainmeter things, and they're all over the board. I mean, they look incredible. Let's see what happens. We go to Rainmeter. You know, clocks, music players, visualizers, all of this stuff on the desktop. It is so beautiful. I don't know about you, but I'm so affected by my environment. I want things to look crisp and beautiful and modern and not gnarly and just bad. And this is especially with old Windows. Like I'm talking Windows 8 and before, looked like that. It had that gnarly kind of ugly stuff. And, you know, the Apple environment has always been beautiful. You just look at it and everything looks gorgeous. And I love having this on Windows. Windows 11, by the way, is, I mean, it's finally beautiful looking. But having these nice widgets on the desktop to be able to look at, even if it's something as trivial as the weather, I love it. Okay, that's Rainmeter. Next up, an absolutely essential tool for me is PicPick. P-I-C-P-I-C-K, Windows only. and I'll hit my print screen. All right, PicPick allows me to take a picture of the screen, a region, a fixed region, a window, a scrolling window, freehand, repeat last capture. It's actually got a screen recorder, color picker, color palette, magnifier, all of these tools. But basically I'm using it, especially this, to capture a region. So when I select that and drag it over, I'll capture that region. And it puts me into this view with tabs on the top. So if for instance, I need to create a second screenshot and put it beside here, I just open this up, and maybe I want to go to my libraries and do the same thing. So now I've got two tabs. This one is in the clipboard, so if I come over here and paste, I can paste this in here. And I can also use some of the tools. So I can grab these shapes, change the color. Grab an arrow, make it bigger, point to things. The only part that isn't as good as it could be is the text. You still have to drag out and type in an area. This is my project panel. And if I've ever communicated with you through screenshots, these are the kinds of things that I do. I'm making that here. I could do this whole thing in Photoshop, but I would have to launch Photoshop, paste all those stuff in here. This just comes up and I can create a bunch of stuff. I can select this, copy it, and paste it into email or a lot of different forums and not have to save one and load one. Sometimes you have to do that on for instance, some tech support sites have no clipboard copying and pasting. You have to upload it. But still, in a couple of clicks, I've got this environment. PicPick absolutely rules. Okay. And the last one is TeraCopy. And this also is for the Mac. So this is just a replacement for copying and pasting. It's just got a lot more functionality. I mean, I should be copying something to see it, but it's showing me the history of stuff that I copied. What I love about this is if I have two folders and I'm not sure what the second folder has that the first one doesn't have, I can select the whole first folder and paste it right into the second, skip any duplicates, and it will give me a list, and it will allow me to continue if something didn't copy or there was an error, instead of a copy just failing. They also say, and I've heard others say, that running TeraCopy is faster than the native copying, at least in Windows. Maybe it's also on the Mac, but TeraCopy, fantastic application. So those are my utilities. If I get a new computer and I install, a blank operating system, that's my go-to list. Boom, boom, boom. Listary, PicPick, all of that stuff always has to go there. And I am way faster in working with things, being able to access different folders that I worked on, and I don't even care where they were. I just look down in Listary, find that where that is, go to Files, open things up, Quick View. Oh man, oh man. Hopefully you can find some of those useful. There are a few Mac versions, but like I said, Files, having the browser, the column view, and Quick View, that's already part of the Mac, so you guys already have those. Hey, if you're new to Video Revealed and you found these informative, take a moment and subscribe. You want to support us more, you can do that on VideoRevealed.com/shop. Donate once or monthly, any amount. We appreciate all of our support. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and I'm listening to you out there, and I'm going to have a few more tutorials in the future of the things that I use behind the scenes to make my show.